Okay, let's dive in. You sent us this source, 100 important points about full stack development.
Yeah,
And today we're really going to try and unpack that. The idea is to zero in on the key stuff, the essentials from this document,
good.
to give you a quick, clear picture of what full stack is about according to this source.
Exactly. It lists a whole 100 points, apparently covering lots of different areas.
100, wow.
But we're going to focus mainly on those initial points, the ones where the source actually gives us some detail, getting that foundation down.
Think of it like this. You shared the source, we're pulling out the core nuggets for you, making it efficient.
Good plan.
So right off the bat, the document asks the big question. What is a full stack developer?
And how does it define it?
It says pretty clearly it's someone who works on both the front end, that's the client side step.
You see in the browser.
Exactly. And the back end, the server side.
Okay, so covering both sides of the coin.
Yeah. And the document immediately points out a big benefit here.
Which is,
That if you've got these full stack skills, you can potentially anyway build a whole web app yourself end to end.
right. That makes sense. Independence.
It's understanding like all the visuals, the buttons, how you interact with a site in your browser,
The user experience bit.
and everything that's happening sort of behind the scenes on a server.
Like fetching the data, running the logic.
Exactly. Getting it all ready to show on the front end.
And the source connects that versatility to demand, right?
It does, yeah. It explicitly says that this ability to work across the stack is why these developers are, and I quote, in high demand.
Because they bridge that gap. Front end, back end, they can speak both languages, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of bridging those layers, the source gives examples of tech stacks.
The acronyms. Like MERN.
Yep, MERN's listed. MongoDB, ExpressJS, React, Node.js.
Okay, so database, back-end framework, front-end library, server environment, all JavaScript heavy, mostly.
Right, and it also mentions LMP.
The classic. Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP.
Yeah, so Linux for the OS, Apache web server, MySQL database, PHP language.
So different combinations, but the point is they cover everything needed, from the server operating system right up to what the user sees.
Exactly. It helps make it more concrete, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Okay, so beyond the definition and the tech, what about day-to-day? The document lists typical responsibilities.
Like what kind of things?
Well, building features, which could be front-end, back-end, or both, obviously. Managing databases.
Makes sense.
Handling code deployment, getting the code out there, and troubleshooting, debugging issues across the whole stack.
Yeah, finding that tricky bug that could be anywhere.
Anywhere, from the browser right back to the database.
And to do that, you need specific technical knowledge. Does it mention key areas?
It does. It highlights working with APIs.
Application programming interfaces, how systems talk.
Right, and microservices.
Breaking down big applications into smaller, independent pieces. That's a big architectural pattern now.
Seems like it. And it's
Yeah.
not just about coding these things.
What else?
Foundational stuff like security. Got to protect the app, the data.
Crucial.
Performance, making it fast. Scalability, making sure it can grow.
Right, scalability, security, performance, scalability, non-negotiables, really.
Pretty much. And underpinning all that coding and architecture, Git.
Version control, absolutely essential.
The document stresses it. Understanding Git, tracking changes, collaborating, rolling back if things go wrong.
Couldn't agree more. It's like the safety net and collaboration tool rolled into one.
Yeah.
You just can't build serious software without it today.
Yeah. No, it's easy to get sort of bogged down in all the tech talk, but the document throws in something else, a non-technical skill.
Oh, which is
Communication, good communication.
interesting. Why specifically for full stack?
Well, the source points out it's important because these developers often work between dedicated front-end and back-end teams, or they bridge that gap.
Okay, so they need to translate.
Kind of. They might need to explain back-end limitations to the front-end folks or explain UI needs to the back-end team.
That makes a lot of sense. They're the connector sometimes, even if they can do it all themselves. Facilitates teamwork.
Exactly. Smooth collaboration, getting features out the door effectively.
So that communication piece is actually pretty key.
It seems so, based on the source. So looking just at this detailed intro part, points 1 to 10 or so, you get a really solid picture.
Yeah, you get the what, some of the how with the tech stacks, the breadth of responsibilities, and these core skills, technical and non-technical.
Right. Now, we should be clear, the document is called 100 Important Points.
Right, and we've only really dug into the first few that had details.
Exactly. It lists other sections later on. Let me see. Front-end basics, back-end basics, databases.
DevOps and deployment, software design and architecture.
And final practical tips. So points 11 through 100 fall under those headings.
But in the version of the source we have, those later points...
They're just placeholders, marked as sample content point.
Right. So no specifics there for us to analyze in this deep dive.
No. So our focus has really been on what was detailed, which was mostly that introductory section.
Which is interesting in itself. The source prioritizes nailing down that core definition, the scope, the key skills right at the start.
Yeah. And even without the details for points 11 to 100, just seeing those section titles, databases, DevOps, architecture, tells you something.
It definitely outlines the intended scope, the sheer breadth of knowledge areas a full-stack developer is kind of expected to be familiar with, or at least interact with.
Absolutely. So bringing it back to you listening, hopefully going through the start of this 100 points document has given you a concise but solid feel for the role based purely on this source material.
Yeah, we've pulled out the definition, the wide range of areas involved, even if just by title later on, technologies like MERN and LAMP, those key skills.
Security, performance, Git.
In communication, plus why the source says they're in demand.
We've tried to give you that snapshot, that high-level view directly from the info you provided.
A clear picture based on the available text.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on, building on just how broad this role seems, even from the intro. Well, given everything this document touches on just at the start, front-end code, back-end code, databases, security, performance, deployment, and communication, how realistic is it for one person to truly master all of that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Or is the reality maybe becoming more about specializing within that full-stack label? You know, maybe you're a full-stack developer, but your real depth is more T-shaped, strong in one area, but competent across the board. Something to mull over.